Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott McKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast. So glad that you are here. Thank you very much for joining. I am honored. This platform is completely and solely dedicated to you, the professional, the industrial professional, and the people that get it done. You guys are changing the world out there, and I am just so honored to be able to be a part of the industrial community. So we've got a great interview today. His name is Glenn Gaudet. He is the founder of GaggleAMP, GaggleAMP. It's a fabulous product. We're going to talk a lot about in his interview. So let's get going. All righty. By the way, I'm using a chatbot for my website, if you could believe that, which is pretty cool. But if you hear things pinging, it's my chatbot. I'm still learning it. And that's what's so fun about just technology in general. Here's a chatbot. I get to do it, and they ping, and I get to interact with people who come to my website. So go to my website, doggone it. And you'll be talking directly with me, which is pretty cool, quite frankly. But before we get going, I want to make sure that you understand that this podcast is brought to you by those wonderful people at Arms Reliability. They've got a reliability summit coming up. This is the 2020, March 31st, April 3rd. Put that down on your calendar. You sign up. You put the doggone promo code in called Industrial Talk. Not called Industrial Talk. Get $600 off your fee. That's money in your pocket. You get a free book by Jason Apps. And if you know Jason Apps, you're not going to be disappointed because he is he's a juggernaut when it comes to reliability. You get a free podcast on this particular podcast, the Industrial Talk Podcast. And then I'll take your podcast and we're going to promote it not only on Industrial Talk, but we're going to promote it on Safety with Purpose, and we're going to stick it out there, and you're going to get a lot of exposure to your business and what you do, absolutely. And then we're going to evaluate your marketing strategy and see no strings attached. Right? No strings attached. That's just coming, just looking at it from the perspective of saying, hey, this is great. That's good. You might want to modify that. That's all it is. So you get all of that when you enter your promo code. You sign up for this particular Reliability Summit, March 31st, April 3rd, and it's in a great town of Austin, Texas. All right, let's get going with the interview. Glenn Gaudet, and it's hard for me living down here in Louisiana. We always say Gaudet, Gaudet. GaggleAMP is the product, and it's really, from my perspective, is how do you get that greater attention? It's something for you, the industrial community, to understand. You got to sell, you got to market, you got to brand. You always got to do that. Here's a product that will definitely help facilitate bringing and improving your bottom line. So enjoy this interview with a gentleman by the name of Glenn Gaudet. All right, Glenn Gaudet or Gaudet. You got it, man. All right. Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast. So glad that you made time for the listeners of the Industrial Talk Podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Scott. Thanks for having me on the show. Really appreciate it.
I'm really excited about this conversation. Listeners out there, that I'm a big fan of trying to get as much out of your digital marketing, branding, and sales. And I'm going to continue to hammer on you guys and you listeners until you do it. And this one is right in line with exactly what we're talking about. Glenn is the founder and CEO of Gaggle. That's GaggleAMP, A-M-P. That's G-A-G-G-L-E-A-M-P. And it's really, how a solution, right, that engages your employees. Why don't you give us a little background on who you are, and then we're going to get into your solution here.
Sure. So prior to founding this company about 9 years ago, I spent most of my career doing various aspects of marketing and some sales for tech companies and media companies. It's this is all things pointed me towards here, I think.
What I like about it is the fact that people are not leveraging, like you said in your bio, leveraging the power of your employees to promote your business. Because if they like your company, if they want to and be able to promote that company, everybody succeeds. Everybody wins. It's a great model. Like it a lot.
And most people want to help. They don't always know how to help. They don't, they're employees, right? So they have an affinity. They're getting a paycheck from you. There's usually in most cases, not everyone, but in most cases, there's a good corporate culture and people enjoy, and it's part of their lives. So why wouldn't they want to help you out? Why wouldn't they want to participate? Just make it easy for them, make it fun. It's that simple.
So that's a great segue into it, because we're going to be talking about employee advocacy, and which is a very interesting topic, because I've been hammering on, being able to bring in and highlighting employees and why they're so fantastic and why they love your company. It's all positive, good, and very uplifting stuff. Why don't you give us, I see the 3 actionable items in your list here, and can we go through them one at a time?
Sure, we certainly can.
Okay, the first one is employees are a natural group of people with the affinity toward the company and brand. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, as I just mentioned before, right? First of all, they're getting paid by the company, and in most companies, you've got a corporate culture where people really enjoy working there. They feel like they're part of the team. There's this collective goal of helping to grow the company, make the company better, and if you're making something easy for them, if you're making it fun, why wouldn't they do it, right? There's that natural affinity that they already have. Tap into that.
How do you make it fun? What is it? I don't
Well,
understand.
you can gamify things. Like if you're using our platform, every time you do an activity, you get points, right? And those points can go to a leaderboard, make it a little competitive. You can kind of compete with everyone else. You can also tie it to a reward system. So, and we're not talking about buying participation here, but hey, go raid the marketing tchotchke closet, right? And give away those t-shirts and water bottles that you didn't give away at the last trade show. So there's a lot of things you can do to really just kind of make it fun. But here's really where I think that the power in this comes is, the fun aspect might get them there and kind of get them to try it out. But once they see that they're actually getting something in return, which is an elevation of their own social profiles, which is they become in their own right an influencer, that becomes really powerful to them.
I like that approach. So there is that win side for the employee to be engaged,
Yes.
and then they become an influence just by virtue of being a part of your organization and being engaged.
Right. Yeah. As long as they know what to do, and that's the key. Most people just don't know where to start.
So how does GaggleAMP facilitate that know where to start? What is that?
So it's a platform that is accessible through a web interface, through a mobile app, and typically what's going on is your marketing folks, or in some cases maybe an agency, is developing activities for the employees to do, and they put them in the platform, and then our platform just makes it super easy for the employees to consume those, and they can either choose to do it or say no thanks. I mean, it's really binary, right? It's very simple.
Okay, I'm going to put on my negative hat on, right?
Okay.
I am a company, and I put some time, energy, effort, and money into the development of your GaggleAMP or AMP.
Okay.
And I'm finding that some people are not engaged. I got that data. They're just not participating. What do I do?
Oh goodness. I think that's a
I
great
want
one.
engagement.
First of all, we did all the development work to make it easy, but let's say you do have some people that don't want to participate. That's cool. It's all good, right? And I think that's the expectation that you need to have, is you're not going to get 100% of your employees to do anything, right? You can't, Scott, you cannot tell me you can get 100% of your employees to open an email.
No, it's probably maybe 2%.
Yeah. So if your bar is 100%, then you're going to fail in every single thing that you do.
It's true, but boy, you've got to, I mean, this is a fantastic solution. And I want to, as a business owner, I want to leverage as much as I possibly can and I create a platform that truly provides a winning outcome for the employees.
Correct.
I want them to participate.
It's a win-win. And that's the beauty of this, is what happens is when they start getting these activities, and these activities range from anything from, posting a piece of content to engaging with an influencer that's out there, to following somebody, to writing a review on Glassdoor about what it's like to work at the company, right? So there's a full range of activities, and the employees are essentially spoon-fed these activities on a regular basis. So it's not overwhelming. So it's not like you get 1,000 things to do.
Right.
Every week you might get a half a dozen, you might get a couple, 3 a day, depending on the cadence of the company and what they want to do.
Interesting.
But what happens is it becomes manageable chunks of activities that they can either say, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. Let me click the button, or click the button and say, no, thanks.
See, and then on the other end, and I digress. Well, I don't digress. I deviate. I run off on tangents. What happens, the individuals that are creating these games, these campaigns, whatever, within GaggleAMP, there's a strategy there too. They're going to say, hey, we're going to be whatever the strategy might be, and we want to be able to leverage the horsepower of the employees to get that message out. That's powerful.
Well, see, here's what typically happens, right? Yeah. You've got a corporate strategy.
Yeah.
And then as part of the corporate strategy, you have a marketing strategy to support the corporate strategy.
Yep.
And then as part of the marketing strategy, you have a digital strategy that supports the marketing strategy that supports the corporate strategy.
There's got to be sales in there. There's got to be sales in there too. You got to line it up with sales too.
Yes. And you're also going to have your employee advocacy program within your organization aligned with your digital strategy, which is aligned with your marketing strategy, which is aligned with your corporate strategy. So everything is in alignment. And what you're doing is the employee advocacy program that you're building is not this standalone silo thing. Oh, we just want to do X. No, you're tying it into the overall strategy of the company.
I would imagine too, just because of the platform that you've created, there's a quicker facilitation in that. What I would see in the old way is like, okay, hey, I'm in the marketing organization. I've got my digital strategy, and it would just sort of roll out. There might be a disconnect, but because you've sort of created this platform, there is probably a faster go-to-market and greater awareness in a quicker time, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, think about the fact that you're doing a product launch.
Yeah.
Right. And whenever you do a product launch, you have these series of things. You've got to get sales aligned. You've got to get all the sales tools ready. You've got to get the marketing communications going. You've got to put the packaging together, all this stuff. And what you want to be able to do as part of that is you want to be able to engage your employees, which are kind of like the foot soldiers out there, right? Because they're on the ground. They're already connected to your not only to other employees, but they're connected to your customers. They're connected to your prospects. And you want to give them things where all of a sudden they can share some information. They can engage with some information, because people trust people, right?
Oh, yeah.
They trust people over the brand. They trust people even over the CEO, which doesn't bode well for me necessarily. But
I
what
trust
it does,
you. So you got one person over here for what it's worth.
But if you look at the research, people trust other people. They trust a person that may be associated with the brand, not necessarily the brand itself, because the brand itself isn't a person, right? We're built to connect with people. We may have an emotional connection to certain brands, but where we really connect from an engagement and a relationship point of view, which at the end of the day, business is about relationships, that's going to come person to person. And so what you're doing is you're giving your employees the ability to digitally engage with folks, which generates relationships.
Yeah, but and it's true, no doubt about that. But what I like about it is that you've got this platform and this strategy that is pretty much centralized. That is a place where you can drive your strategy to a platform where everybody understands. And then, to your point, sometimes employees don't know what to do. There
Right.
it is.
Yeah.
So
Actually, most times they don't, because that's not their core job.
Right, exactly.
Right. What's their core job? Their core job is usually doing something other than digital marketing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and it's operations. It doesn't really matter. It's
Right.
right.
So
See, I love it.
if you think about it, it also helps you align some of these other areas that may need some support in this. HR is a great example. What is HR trying to do? HR is trying to get the word out that there's job openings. They want to get the word out that there's this incredible place to work, what it's like to work at this company, right? These are all things that what's better than having the employees themselves share stories about what it's like to work at the company.
Wow, I love it. I really do. I think that, and then you get that sort of that compounding effect, so
You do.
I see in the platform that I can do something that is meaningful for my company, and I can sort of, in my little way, be able to become an influencer. But then I can then network with my people and say, hey, we got job openings, and you're great. Why don't you, and it's just sort of that ripple and that compounding effect. I like it a lot. That's powerful.
Think about this. You might have a situation where in most companies, you have some subject matter experts in different areas, right?
Yeah.
And so not everybody is a subject matter about everything, but chances are your marketing department, they're kind of looking for conversations that are taking place out there digitally, right? So it might be on somebody's blog, it might be somewhere in LinkedIn, somewhere, wherever the platform is that the conversation is taking place. The folks who are managing the program can say, hey, you three people who are the subject matter experts on this, why don't you jump into this conversation? And then they can have everybody else who's not really a subject matter expert on that, they can help them amplify that conversation. Maybe if it's in a tweet, maybe they have everybody retweet it. Maybe they have people like that particular thing, or share that comment that's on that blog that's really powerful. So that's where you get into this strategy that is more than just having everybody do everything, but really getting specific about who are the right people to really do this particular aspect of it. And then maybe what we can do is we can get the masses to kind of lift that up.
See, I think this is brilliant. I mean, what am I missing here? If I'm just sort of drinking your Kool-Aid here, what am I missing? Is there any negative that I can find? I mean, it seems brilliant. I mean, what's the negative? What's the downside?
You know what it is? It's going to be a little more work for you, right? So if you're a company, it's not something you just flick a switch and all of a sudden magically it happens. You need people who are actually going to be thinking about this from a strategic point of view, who can tie the strategy to the tactics.
See, that's still, it's not a negative. You've just sort of, I'll tell you one thing, because what I see is maybe this is more geared toward the medium to large company. Now, there might be small companies that would benefit from it, but
we have companies as small as 25 people who are using this.
Now, I can still see the value of that. Yeah. I still see, you've got 25 potential individuals that would push and probably have greater engagement, just because they have a vested interest in the success of that company.
Yeah.
And what about that corporate message that everybody wants to control?
Well, and that's the thing. That's a mindset issue, right? So with companies who are kind of in that traditional 1980s command and control mindset, if they haven't gotten out of that, they haven't realized that it's about authenticity and voice, right? And so
it's humanization.
It's exactly right. It puts that human element to the brand, to the company, to the product. And when you realize that your employees are the key to all of that, because they're not only close to the product, they're also close to the market.
Yeah, they're in the trenches.
And
they're
you
right there.
really want them to be part of this.
Hey,
and
is there a loop back?
If you don't,
is there a loop back component of saying, hey, here's a campaign that we're pushing, and because I'm in the front lines and I'm in the market, can I have some feedback and say, hey, I think you might want to adjust the messaging because I think the market looks like this because I'm in it. Could you do that?
Yeah, it's great. So like in our platform, when you click the button that says, you know what, no thanks on that one, it gives you the option to provide some anonymous feedback as to why. So now you've got your marketing team or your agency able to read the feedback and say, well, you know, look, 25 people said it was a little too salesy, or it was a little too this, or it was a little too that.
Right.
Or, you know, it just doesn't really hit with the folks that I'm trying to get a message out to.
Right.
And so now you've got that feedback loop, and it's anonymous, and it's anonymous by design, so that people will not feel like, you know, somebody's looking at them funny if they say something negative about what somebody else might have said.
Well, I'll tell you right now, it's a journey, I would imagine. You can't just, like you said,
Absolutely.
You just don't turn it on and it just happens. You've got to, it's a journey. You'll improve as you go along. You made the decision to do it.
And you know what we tell everybody is the plan that you have in your head or you've written down on paper on day one is going to be different on day 30, is going to be different after 6 months. It's going to be different after a year, because you're going to have an ebb and flow. You're going to have communication from your fellow employees.
Yeah.
You're going to be getting all of the data and the reporting to see what's resonating, what's not. And so you're constantly going to be tweaking that as you go along.
All right, you industrial listeners, we got to wrap this up. I want to get your pen and paper out real quick. We're going to summarize because we were just chit-chatting, and there were a lot of great nuggets in there. First, you got to start to leverage your employees with your digital marketing strategy. They're already connected. They're already so you got to start doing. Get them connected by using this particular platform, GaggleAMP, and make it easy and fun. And it's a journey, right? And you're making them influencers, and it's just all positive. Do it. I can't say enough about it. I mean, gosh, you had me at hello, and you got a full head of hair, which I do not have a full head of hair. All right, you're active out there on LinkedIn and all the other platforms out there?
Yeah, so you can always find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Glenn with 2 N's G. It's Glenn with 2 N's G. Yeah. And my LinkedIn is just Glenn Gaudet. Just check me out. And also, if you want to get some information and some resources around employee advocacy, go to our website. We set up a special page for this. It's called GaggleAMP.com/amp up. AMPUP. So GaggleAMP.com/amp up.
All right. I hate to cut it short, but we have to cut it short. Listeners out there, on industrialtalk.com, we're going to have all of the links that you need to have to get in contact with Glenn, as well as that amped up /amped up link as well. I really appreciate this conversation. I really enjoyed it. I think the listeners can appreciate it. You better appreciate it. As if I have any swag on them. No, that's a fantastic solution. I love it a lot. You listeners out there, reach out to Glenn. He's quite the guy, quite the gent. And hang tight. We're going to be right back with how we're going to wrap this up and more information about Glenn and his company. So stay tuned.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
All right, you listeners out there, that is Glenn Gaudet, Gaudet, and his first name is Glenn, GaggleAMP. All his contact information will be located at the Industrial Talk Podcast on his particular podcast, so don't miss out, because I'm telling you right now, he knows his stuff, great product. He wants to help you be a success, as well as, remember, to go out to the Reliability Summit and get your calendar out. March 31st through April 3rd. Great people, great company. That's Arms Reliability. Check that conference out and get a basket full of free goodies. And once you sign up, but remember to put that promo code Industrial Talk in the promo code place. And then finally, I'm doing a series on why you need a podcast. You just go to the homepage, industrialtalk.com, look to the right of it, look at the button, boom, you'll have all of that series at your fingertips of why you need a podcast. It improves sales, it improves your marketing, it improves the branding of your company. It's all positive and it's all other focus. So go out to industrialtalk.com, click on that button. They're less than, majority of them are just like 6 minutes, 7 minutes max. So you should be able to consume that with no problem. Thank you again for joining the Industrial Talk podcast. Be bold, be brave, dare greatly, change the world. That's what you're about in the industrial world. Thank you very much for joining. Take care, be safe, and we'll talk soon.